Very well, loud and clear.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This is Manoj here from TCS. I'm heading the AI initiatives for automotive as a part of our industrial AI and autonomy business unit. Today I'm going to introduce you to TCS Automotive Generative AI and Agentic AI platform. Uh, so, the crux of this platform is that it is a specialized AI platform built for accelerating the automotive engineering life cycle. So today, the car manufacturers are taking about 3 years, close to 30 months on an average, to develop a new vehicle. A vehicle which can run on roads, right from concept to production. And there are a lot of areas where there is a need to accelerate this development, because there are new age car manufacturers like the Teslas and the BYDs of the world, who are able to do it in close to 20 months. So we see that accelerating this involves accelerating the software development, the vehicle engineering, as well as accelerating the whole vehicle development. The vehicle testing, because as you know that it is a safety critical system. Because of that, there are multiple levels of testing which is involved while a vehicle is developed. And we see that design efficiency, software development efficiency, and accelerated testing with an AI powered engineering approach is the way to accelerate this product development. But at the same time, making sure that these are fail safe, as well as the accuracy of all these artifacts getting generated in this life cycle is up to the expectations of the industry. So with this intent in mind, we have created a platform, a core AI platform, which has now 50 plus specialized AI agents, which can accelerate the different areas of the vehicle development life cycle, right from architecture, requirements, to the design, to the architecture and implementation, and finally going to the verification and validation before moving into the start of production, diagnostics, etc. We'll talk about what it makes it different. And just to give credentials, this platform is already deployed with at least 5 global car manufacturers today, accelerating their vehicle development programs with AI infusion. And we also have a very close collaboration with AI industry leaders like the NVIDIA's and the Microsoft and AWS. The partnership helps us to come up with state of the art AI models which can accelerate the overall process, which is highly safety critical and needs high levels of accuracy and observability, etc. The problem statement is, with a lot of software getting into the vehicle at this point of time, with the advancements in software defined vehicles, because you can see that right from infotainment system to most of the body control systems, everything is software driven. There are autonomous driving capabilities which, or advanced driver safety systems which is coming into the play, which is making it much more complex. So there are 100 millions plus lines of code in a vehicle, which is running in roads, and it is going to be exponentially increased as the sophistication of these systems increase. And they are all highly safety critical systems. It is all driven by functional safety standards like ISO 26262, cybersecurity standards, etc., which will make sure that these systems are fail safe. So traceability, privacy, and compliance with regulatory standards, etc., is very important aspects. And these systems should be scalable to handle the production kind of scale which is required in the automotive industry. So the trusted AI what we bring into this into this paradigm is that these are trustable outputs linked to approved engineering artifacts, be it requirement, safety, or testing. But at the same time, because of the safety criticality and everything, we completely aligned and understand that it cannot be only AI who's driving this development. it has to be a human AI system. So we also have this platform bringing human in loop, which will help to improve the outputs or the artifacts generated by AI and given back to the agents, which will help them to further improve the quality of the outputs so AI generates the next time. So, having said this, what are the key innovative aspects of this platform? Is that the core technology layer is a automotive specific small language models and large language models, which is powering the agentic AI platform. And agentic AI platform is capable of planning the tasks, orchestrating it, and making human enabled reviews in the loops with highly sophisticated automotive process development driven by ISO standards as well as ASPICE process standards. And to enable this, we have been pioneering in AI for last few years in the automotive segment. And as a testimony of it, we have now 25 plus patents completely authored and owned by our team in TCS, which is our brain. So we call this as TCS DriveSphere, which is our brand of automotive, and Auto AI Brain is what we call, which is having this 25 plus agents. And as I mentioned, we also have a very sophisticated infrastructure to enable scale of AI training and inferencing, both at hyperscaler level and on-premise level, leveraging our collaboration with NVIDIA, Azure, and AWS. So what it provides as outcomes in this process development is right from systems engineering, software engineering. We are able to actually create a lot of fine-tuned agents. So this actually, there are 3 or 4 categories in this whole vehicle development. One is there is an embedded system, then there is software, then there is hardware, and then there is mechanical. So these are the components which has to go through all these stages. So now we have 50 plus fine-tuned AI agents catering across these 4 stages, which will help to accelerate the product development of a new vehicle. So the idea here is that we can say that let's say we have already deployed, as I mentioned, in multiple customer premises. And one key aspect, which the journey that we have gone through. So we actually worked with a North American car manufacturer, car manufacturer. We identified with close interaction with these OEMs, because we have been working with them for last a couple of decades in their various vehicle development programs. And we actually identified the areas of AI infusion, which are high value and high impact. And based on that, we actually tried to connect these agents and tried to make a traceable orchestration across the V model, which starts with requirements, go to architecture, and test before it goes to actual diagnostics, which is after production. And these agents,
Mr. Manoj, you only have about a minute left for your presentation.
Orchestration, and then validation, and then finally going to the scale. So the artifacts are all present. There are multiple things which is published. So what is that unique agents? As I mentioned, that these are all automotive specific small language models, visual large models, as well as SLMs, which is accelerating it. It has coverage across the product development lifecycle with strong capabilities for observability and governance, and as well as scale for large multi vehicle programs across the different geographies. And the key credentials that we are able to achieve is that for a particular accuracy of a autonomous driving system, we developed an agent which is now able to bring 93% of accuracy while detecting this one, because of the synthetic data which we generated for edge scenario testing. We are able to shorten the functional safety analysis by 50% in production with another global OEM. we are able to reduce 60 percentage of cost in one of the 3D texture generation agent which we developed and deployed for another global OEM with for after sales use case. And another key aspect is there are a lot of privacy required, so any data collected from the cameras in the vehicle needs to be masked with all the personal identifiable information. So we are able to build a tool which can now do at 98 percentage of accuracy, deployed across 6 continents now in the world for another European car manufacturer. So these are some of the key credentials, and the innovation that we bring into the table is actually helping us to build a much more safer vehicle, but at a faster time, ensuring that all the it is a trustworthy and trustworthy AI which is actually being deployed into the systems, making sure that human and AI now work collaboratively to build a safer and sustainable software defined mobility in future. So with that, I would like to conclude this. Please let me know if you have.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Manoj. We'll now move on to the question and answer round. Jurors, we are open to questions. Would any of the jurors like to go first?
Yes, I think probably you have a very good system integration approach. I think TCS has been a very major automotive company for a very long time, and I think this is basically using commercial standard AI for system integration as applied to automotive, right? So I don't really see what the AI innovation is here, particularly on the emphasis being on AI, because this seems to be TCS's automotive capabilities, which are very significant and very noteworthy, rebranded as AI, right? So I don't see any evidence of any defensible IPR or IPR moat or whatever they call it in terms of the AI knowledge itself. And one thing that struck me is if you go to your second slide, you can share it or not, it's okay. You talk about, I actually noted this down. You said the work is validated through mentions in NVIDIA technical blogs, onstage invites at NVIDIA GTC, and so on. That is not really a validation because NVIDIA basically is a supplier, right? So your connection with NVIDIA is that you're consuming infrastructure supplied by them. And they will, because they want to encourage adoption in the ecosystem of their products, they will invite anyone. They will invite a lot of people. They mention thousands of companies and many different use cases and so on in their GTC and in their blogs and so on. I don't really see that as validating your work. That's actually misleading or frankly a little simplistic.
Okay, so understood the point. So coming to the first question, right? What is the novelty of this? Is that, as I said, there are about 25 plus patents which we have applied, which are core AI. Okay, so that they are actually the approaches which helps to either develop an AI based approach for reasoning and contextualization in an automotive environment. There is a European granted patent recently which is on the approach for synthetic data generation on images, right? Images and videos. So I'll just give an example of that novelty. Right now the cameras collect the data, and the vehicle is moving in which the camera is placed, and also the background objects are moving, the pedestrians are moving, the vehicles are moving. So if I wanted to actually no car manufacturer can collect all the data, right, which is required to test an autonomous safety system. So that's one of the major challenge. How do I train and
Yeah.
deploy
So
autonomous?
we want to have a say. Anyway, I think I've made my point. Please continue. And other panelists can step in. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your presentation. Yeah, so I had some questions regarding the benchmarking of your system, right? Especially like the AI orchestration part that you were talking about, right? So have you, and I think you are making use of some of the existing models, right? So have you benchmarked it? I mean, how good is it? I mean, what kind of mistakes? Because the kind of setting we are is like we cannot afford any sort of mistake, because some of these could be handling some critical functions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So what you see here, right? These are the benchmarks, I would say. These actually numbers have come from, I think this also answers the first, Judy's question, is that how do you benchmark, right? Or validate? These are the validation benchmarks. So I am able to achieve 93% on a production system for an object detection system, which is deployed in multiple geographies and working in a car. And if you look at here, the 98 percentage of masking of the private personally identifiable information is another key benchmark, which I have not done. It was done by the car manufacturer, and with comparing it with other models, which could be commercially off the shelf models, which are the niche AI companies which build such models. So the novelty and the validation has come from our customers who were, within whom we have actually deployed it, and it runs in production system. And many of these models are not commercial models. So as I said, like some of these models, so synthetic data generation, which I spoke about, the masking which I am speaking about, these are all completely built up from scratch, from by TCS, by my team itself. So I am the one of the primary inventors of many of these patents. So, and these patents are granted across Europe, Japan, uh, and United States, along with India. And these are some of the core innovation which we are able to bring, which is helping them to bring this. But at the same time, it is not possible that I build everything from scratch, right? So the idea is always been that if there are something which is already available, try to leverage that along with the core of the problem, which is an automotive domain specific problem, which will be addressed by our core novel AI elements which is into it. The orchestration is not really a very big differentiator. I can use Azure Open AI Foundry or AWS Bedrock or NVIDIA's Nemotron framework, which does the agentic orchestration. But the our novelty is those key core AI models or the AI agents, which is only fine-tuned and specific to automotive domain problems.
And these you have developed in-house, right?
These are all developed in-house, and these patents, are all credentials of that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Ashish, would you like to ask any questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Would any of the other jurors like to ask any questions?
You have claimed that you got 25 patents. So these are patents filed or patents granted?
25 is the patents granted.
Okay, wonderful.
And completely owned by TCS.
Okay, and what is the recency of these patents?
Well, I would say that in the last 5 years we would have filed it.
Okay. Yeah. And then currently how many customers are using your system?
As I said, like in production environment, 5 customers are using it. 5 global car manufacturers and are using it.
So what kind of say efficiency improvement or revenue gain or ROI return they are looking at with this AI adoption? Because you already had a very well established tech stack, right? And now on top of that you have put up AI.
Yeah, correct. That's true.
Of course, increases the cost, but that increase in cost justifies the return.
Yeah. Very, very, very important question. And that's where, every car manufacturer or the vehicle manufacturer is actually
be asking the same question.
Yeah. So, so in a very realistic way, right? I mean, if you see here that the target is achieving about 40% reduction in the cost.
Okay.
Okay. So, because of the complexity of the systems, the fail-safe nature of it and all that,
What cost of car manufacturing or cost of your system?
No, cost of car manufacturing, the overall development process.
Okay.
So that's what they are trying to reduce it to up to 40%, 30 to 40%, I would say. And at this point of time,
able to achieve. So is this target or this is the ground result?
The target is 30 plus, and
Hmm.
what we are able to do with all the advancements in AI plus our platform, I would say, is about 20%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you increased your cost of your system because of this AI, or you have just introduced this to retain your customers?
Yeah, again important.
What's the
Yeah,
strategy? Customer
yeah, I
retention
mean,
or making more money?
as you know that this is the part and parcel of the game now. If you
Hmm.
don't have AI in any
Hmm.
of the system, whether it is core
That's right.
engineering, this one, it cannot have a value in the this one. So we have actually come up with a flexible model, so where it is required to position it as something which is a value add
Hmm.
without increasing the cost.
Hmm.
That's what we do in large programs. So this is a key winning formula for us to win large programs, because we are having an AI infused, and we are committed to bring those efficiency improvements.
This major petrol supplier is a Claude or a GPT or your own wells, which is small LLMs.
I would say that it is, which is actually bringing value,
Hmm.
is our own small LLMs and visual large models for ADAS and autonomous driving kind of use cases.
Okay.
While there are few specialized agents which these people bring, like Claude, for example, is very
Hmm.
good in coding. So
Hmm.
your actual implementation of a code, Claude does well. So
Hmm.
we leverage Claude for such
That's
tasks.
for building up your own system, but for
They building up on, yeah,
intelligence, SLMs are driving the intelligence.
driving, yeah, which is our patented AI approaches, I would say.
So LLM fine-tuning, how it could become your patented approach?
It's actually the architecture in itself, the
Okay.
the model, the methodology of
Okay.
building those AI approaches itself,
So,
not the.
so,
Final question, why don't you really build your own LLMs ground up, right? Which could be Claude for manufacturing.
So that's exactly, sir, is the plan. Right now we are in the process of that.
Okay.
So of course it also depends on, like, a company like TCS, how much they want to
Saying that you guys,
yeah.
TCS, Wipro, Infosys are heavily criticized that you brought the IT revolution and you are actually digging the grave of IT revolution because you have not invested right amount of money in LLMs. Anyway, that should not be the topic of discussion. Dr.
I,
Yeah. But
You
at least from a, I would not talk about the larger TCS, but at least from my perspective,
I
we are
really
building
appreciate what you're doing.
automotive SLM. That's our, strategy.
Dr. Ashish,
so,
you wanted to ask.
so you said about architecture research, right? What kind of architecture research is it? Is it that you came up with new architecture, LLM
Yeah.
architecture, or what is that exactly? Could you be
Yes.
specific, please?
Yeah. So the architecture is, I would say, in two different aspects. So one, I spoke about the synthetic data generation as an example, which is like I have a moving vehicle and moving objects and surrounding. So it is like a temporal dynamics come into play. So the typical generative adversarial networks kind of an approach cannot handle this moving object, moving background kind of an this one, because it actually introduces. So I am actually in a video, I am introducing a person is actually not there, I'm introducing a person who's moving. But so as the vehicle moving in which the camera is installed, the person has to gradually reduce in size, right, in a very realistic way, which does not happen. So now we came up with a TCS on generative adversarial architecture, which now addresses this temporal cohesiveness, which will help to reduce or eliminate the distortions while I'm introducing a dynamic object. So that's one such example.
Dr. Ashish, you're on mute.
I'm saying this is more like innovation at a data generation phase, right? Rather than LLMs itself.
No, I mean, in the sense, we have all different kinds of multimodal models, I would say. It has, because it has camera data, it might have another sensors like LIDARs and radars coming into play. Then there is actual vehicle CAN data, which is all coming from in the vehicle in-house sensors. And then while developing these systems, these are all textual data. It has numbers and text and all that, like the design elements, and it also had a lot of CAD data coming in. So it's a multimodal kind of a problem. So it has, our architecture is also multimodal in nature. It can handle, it has, support for small language models, large language models, voice models, plus the VLMs, plus the, now it's coming up as VLAs, visual large action models. So all support for all these multimodal architectures are enabled in our platform, sir.
Sure. Thank you very much. I think time is also up. I'll stop. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.